Hey, howdy ho, all you fine shits out there. Welcome back to week two of I'm just going to call this the Monster Halloween Bash Super Halloween Mega Month series, where each week we just talk about more horror films. And this week, I forgot when it was, like a few months ago, we talked about Final Destination, and we figured we'd wrap up the rest of the franchise. That means 2, 3, The Final Destination 5, and Bloodlines all in this final episode. Just because I feel like torturing Leo, and he talked a lot of shit about horror movies. And
Hey, hey,
dude,
I can't
yeah,
complain about this one.
no, I know.
This is
I'm
the
very
best one,
proud of
bruh.
you.
Like
I'm
hands
very proud of
down,
you. I'm very glad you said that because I feel like I overhyped this to an extent. To if it wasn't the way you feel towards it now, I feel like there's nothing I can convince you that would be really good.
No,
Because,
no, I had a much better time watching these than I had did like watching the slasher movies.
dude, right? Like, I don't know what it is, but this has always been like my go-to horror franchise. I Even though the fourth one's absolute shit, I still at
Oh
least
yeah,
have some fun watching it because, like, by the way, you know what? I'm just gonna say this because we're talking about so many of them, but just spoiler warning, especially just because we'll
oh
be
yeah, the new
talking
one
about
just came out. Yeah,
Bloodlines. So I don't want to like accidentally say something about that movie while talking about like the second or third one or whatever and spoil it for someone. So just spoilers for all of the films, just in case you haven't seen like the new one or whatever. But with that said, I think at least the fourth one's still fun because, like, you see a guy die by having his asshole sucked out. Like, bro, if that's like not some of the most ridiculous shit on this planet, I don't know what
bro.
is. Like,
You want to? So I was watching. I watched like all of these except for Bloodlines, pretty much like in one go. And my aunt came home from work, and I was watching the tail end of three, and then I started the Final Destination, and so she was watching kind of a little bit like while I was watching, and it was so funny whenever we would get like to the deaths, because honestly, that one's probably one of the gorier ones. And
for
like
unintentionally too, which is
yeah,
ironic, I think.
but it was just funny, like when we got to like that moment, and then the one where like his girlfriend gets fucking demolished by the escalator or whatever, and like I just thought it was really funny, and my sister came up too, like towards the end. It was funny because I could tell that they kind of thought it was stupid, and I even told my sister, I was like, I'm sorry you decided to come up on the only bad one.
Like literally, like that's the thing about the fourth one. Yeah, weird. We're starting with the fourth one, I guess, but
Well, we don't have to. I just
no, I figure, fuck it. I figure we just get out of the way because I feel like you mentioned a good point before we started. It's the most unimportant one. Like it's hard to say because I feel like a lot of them are like loosely connected already. But I feel like with like Bloodlines, they really do like a cementing job. Where I feel like me and you can talk about Bloodlines for a bit because that one really just kind of triggered my like theory type brain. Like this is one of
oh
those
yeah,
franchises where I kind of admire the consistency and like the writing through different writers and the directing because it's one of those franchises where I would like it's not like horror like porn in the way that I think a lot of people will view the Saw franchise. But I
yeah,
think this franchise could have very easily leaned into that too fast. And I think that's where the fourth one kind of leans in because it
yeah.
was 2011. They were really getting in on the
Is that when it
3D.
came out?
Yeah, dude, it
Oh,
was the big
oh my
3D
god! Don't even
craze.
get me started on a fucking
Yeah.
3D shit. No, it came out in
And
2009.
oh, was it 2000? I thought it was 2011. Oh no,
That's the
five was
fifth one.
2011.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, 2009 was the fourth one, 3D, and it was the big 3D craze. Like,
yeah. The whole 3D thing is so goddamn annoying in this movie because it's so in your face for no reason. Like, and honestly, that's part of why it feels like it leans more into like the torture porn stuff, because every time there's a death, there's something about it that's flying at the screen, and I really didn't enjoy that.
well, not only that, if I remember correctly, because they filmed, I think they filmed majority of this in 3D. They had an issue color correcting the film,
Oh,
so
that's
all
fucking
of the blood
hilarious.
is just like super kind of enhanced, red, or like it's an overly kind of gory color for no reason when you like
Mm.
compare it to the others. For some like it's just it looks cartoony when you look
Mm-hmm.
at the others, like in a way where I get it's weird because we're talking about a franchise where it essentially is like a morning cartoon, just overly bloody, where people are just like I think of like Tom and Jerry, where
Oh
like
yeah.
they're always like trying to drop things on each other, and instead of just like all their bones cracking and just splattering into bits, they just rebound and turn into like a stick, like because it's a comedy. But like this is like, what if you just R rated it? And
You know
so,
what? I've never thought of it that way, but that's kind of like the perfect analogy.
right,
That
right.
kind of is because yeah, because I don't find the deaths. I mean, yeah, they're gruesome sometimes, but sometimes they're kind of funny. Like,
Well, they're some of them are just so absurd. Like that's the thing is, I find it funny because last week, oh, we were discussing about like pre-code films
oh
with
yeah,
the Universal horror flicks, and Final Destination franchise really doesn't hold anything back in terms of children. And like jumping to the second film, I love like for example, it's not an overly gory or bloody death, but when the kid runs out and scares the pigeons and then just the glass falls on him, it's like it's what I think the franchise does so well is it sets up what you think it could be awesome, and then it just pulls the rug from under and it's something totally different. And it doesn't have to be bloody, but it just takes you off guard because you would never think this being in this dental office, this kid's gonna choke or whatever, like so some like wiring might cause him to be fried, but you never think he gets out of that okay, and it's just like some weird coincidental he scares pigeons and like causes this big crane to drop something on him. Like what the fuck?
well, see, I think that's one of the reasons why again the Final Destination is not good because it
Doesn't
doesn't
do it
do that
well.
very well. Like, it is just about like the gore factor, and it's not trying to like pick up the tension or anything. And yeah, and I think that's why, like, even while my aunt and sister were kind of watching, they were just every time something happened, they would just be like, oh my god, that's so fucking gross. And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, it is, but I don't know. Yeah, they're just not getting all of the good ones focus on building up and
The
sort of,
tension
yeah,
around
not just
like
the tension, but also trying to make you think like, oh shit, how is this person gonna fucking die? Like, that's even the point of Bloodlines too. Like,
no,
that
that's
they
what I was
pick
just
that
about
up
to
to
mention.
11.
They do a I think each film does a really interesting version of keeping that in line with how an event like makes them all come together, like how everyone's connected. And
Hmm.
I think by the time four also comes around, I think it does get tiring to kind of just see this generic group of like school friends just hanging out and they
You
go
mean
to an
the
event.
generic group of
Yeah, it's like the
friends?
ultimate generic just place two guys, two girls. One guy's an asshole who just dates like the overly generic hot ditzy girl. Like it's almost as generic as it could be when yeah, I feel like that's what the other three kind of had. I know the second one was like a bunch of grown adults, but they still fit like the generic traits of the characters, I feel. But the fourth one just kind of doesn't care and just
No, it
hammers
doesn't.
it home. And
Like,
you
I
can
don't know
notice the
anything
writing is very
about those
lasted.
characters.
You don't know anything about them. They're all just kind of dicks. Even the one likable couple, they're just black characters. So when they do die at the end, it's nothing. And when they do die at the end, it's the only one that actually doesn't show it and just makes it a credit, which is kind of boring, I think, as well.
Mm.
I don't know. I just want to know like how you feel about the franchise as a whole now after coming off of the first one, because I feel like the first one isn't different in hindsight, but is wildly different just in terms of how I don't want to say safe it feels in comparison to two and on, but you could see like after the first one, they just went into kind of like overdrive with the concept of
Hmm.
death is coming for you.
I don't know. I mean, I liked the first one when we watched it. Like, I know in that episode I was saying how like I didn't expect that I would get really into it, and that's kind of how it's been for like the rest of the franchise too. Because I was kind of hesitant to start watching Final Destination 2 because I was like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna be any good. You had told me that thing about the brick, and then when I got to it, I was just like, "What the fuck, man? Like, you guys couldn't have thought." I just love because it's funny too. Because in that movie, there's the part where the cop guy is like doing his Google search for the movie.
In the second one,
Um,
right?
yeah, and then it's showing all the pictures of like the gruesome ways that these people have fucking died, and then it just gets to him, and he's just lying in a fucking alley with like the most pathetic like stream of blood I've ever seen, and it's just like, oh, a man hit by falling brick,
He's like,
and I'm
damn, bro.
and I'm like, oh my god, I like even at least like Clear gets fucking blown up and incinerated, but anyways, um. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's things that I do and don't like about those first two movies. Um, But I think overall these movies are just really fun to watch. You know what I mean? That feels wrong to say, but they are. Like there's a good balance of like humor, heart, and just fucking blood that I just can't not enjoy. I think these movies are like the perfect example of like that hot and cold thing that we were talking about in the slasher films. Not in terms of like the sex stuff, but just balancing the gruesome stuff with like the more regular stuff.
Yeah, like I think the franchise does a good job at adding comedy in a very unegregious way because I feel like that's where some of these horror films I feel kind of fall flat. At least in like modern days, which like post 2000, where I feel like they always kind of feel the need like there's so much going on that they need to have like a joke to lighten it up. And the joke is always just kind of either random, put in an awkward position, or like the joke just never really kind of makes sense or really lands. But I think this franchise for Final Destination does a really good job, and like it's still going in even Bloodlines, where I was snickering quite a few times. I'm like, damn, bro, like it's not laugh out loud, but I don't think the franchise needs to have these laugh out moments. More so to just have like these characters that are clearly acknowledging the situation they're in, but not like the atypical like protagonist where they're trying to save everyone. Like some of them are just trying to save themselves, and so the comedy just comes out in those moments where there's like, fuck this group, you know, fuck you guys, I'm just gonna save myself after, like Claire, someone just goes on this giant monologue about how death is coming after them one by one in the order that they were supposed to die in. So I think the franchise just is able to do that consistently well, like outside of the fourth one. But like
Yeah, while you were saying that, I was thinking like, man, the fourth one does
the
not
fourth
do
one's
that.
just so dry all around, and
But it
it
does
just
have moments where they're trying to do like jokes like that, and it just doesn't work.
because all the characters are just awful. Like
Yeah,
there's not one likable character because half of the characters in the fourth one are just racist or just parents who just overly hate their children. Like just people absolutely just yelling at one another without any rhyme or reason. People just being just general assholes. Like there's no reason for what anyone does in the film. And so
hmm.
it's just
Okay.
like,
Actually, I will say there's one good scene in that movie, and it's where the security guard tries to hang himself. That was the one part where
oh
it was like, oh,
yeah,
that's actually kind of funny
yeah.
because it's kind of similar to how in the second one when the the motorcycle dude tries to, I don't remember any of the characters' names, sorry. He tries to like shoot himself with the cop's gun. I thought that
And it
was,
clicks, and then they check it. There's like, it's full, bro. How did that happen?
yeah. And so yeah, I that was the one good scene because it's the one point where something like interesting kind of happens. And also it's like
But it's
cuz
also
I
like a genuine moment, I feel, for the
well
first
yeah,
time in the
because
film.
you know, the security guard is the only one that has any fucking backstory. Like, he is like, "Oh yeah, I accidentally killed my wife and child while drunk driving." Like, that's interesting. Like, but none of the other characters have any of that. They're just like the most basic of basic white people in a horror movie. And
And
yeah, that's the one moment where I was like, "Oh, this is a real movie."
the films arguably, so when we do like our ratings for the films, we're, instead of doing like a quick wrap up, I think what we'll do is like do our film rankings, but also rank like our opening death scenes, like the giant events that happen, because The Final Destination is literally the worst one. It,
Oh, I was thinking
because
that too. I was totally thinking that too.
my issue with it is it's not
They're not
an
doing
every
anything.
it will it's not an everyday occurrence for people. It's not like flying in an airplane, driving on the highway,
Roller
going
coaster.
to an amusement park on a roller coaster, or driving on a bridge, just going to a retreat. Like those are standard stuff that I feel like we can all
Relate to.
relate to in a daily basis, where going to a racetrack feels like a very subgroup, where I've been to one but like not in that setting, where it feels like it's not NASCAR exactly, but it's like pre-NASCAR. It feels like a
Mm,
very niche group. I don't know, but it didn't feel like I really cared about these people going to this event, because you didn't feel the tension of it being an everyday event where they didn't have the control per se of not changing it
hmm.
until like they have the premonition.
Yeah, my problem is that the the opening doesn't do a good job of building up the tension of like these ominous things going on. It's like because yeah, in all of the other ones, like there something is going on, like getting up to like getting on the airplane or getting on the roller coaster, yada yada yada, and there's things that are happening, and this one doesn't do a very good job at that. It's just them sitting, they're already there, they're sitting down in this one section and like nothing is going on, and then the building just starts to collapse. It's not very interesting, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is kind of dumb, and I'm not really, I don't know, it just, these are the movies where like the opening needs to be strong
I
and it
think
just
the issue
falls flat.
is everyone just kind of dies the same, and no one ever really stands out. It's just like concrete falling on someone, or like an explosion causing
Engine
someone to
falling
like,
on someone.
yeah, it's just like something falling on someone, or like an explosion pushing or incinerating someone. Like
Yeah.
like at least in like going to the fifth one, where the boss, the bald boss, the fucking, oh my god, the guy from fucking Anchorman. I don't know why I'm
Oh,
blanking
the
on his name right
oil.
now. Yeah, the oil falls on his face, and it's like it's shit like that, or the girlfriend's falling off the bridge and like she falls into a boat. Another one falls off the bridge. You think she's safe, but a car falls on her. Like
The
those
other
are like
dude gets
interesting
sliced.
different ways. Yeah, another dude gets sliced in half. Like it's just not creative, and I think that's what the fourth one overall like kind of lacks. And like I made a joke about the asshole being sucked, but I think that scene where he gets his asshole sucked out but their girlfriend's like drowning in a car is kind of like the overall circle of, I feel, of how I think the movie does the kill scenes, is like just very boring, generic, nothing really leads up to it. And yeah, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And like the third act is boring too.
Oh,
At the movie theater,
okay, actually now's the
and
perfect
then it
time.
turns into another premonition, and then it's just really awkward.
Yeah, see, that was one of the things that I really didn't enjoy about, cuz it's never been explained how the premonitions work. Um it's not that big of a deal, but none of these movies really, it's the one thing that's really weird about the premonition stuff is just that it only ever happens once, and then all of a sudden, like because they'll see the whole thing play out, and then the rest of the movie it's like it's not like that.
They
And
get
yeah,
like brief glimpses.
each one does it differently. Like I know in the second one she experiences like kind of visions like through the person's eye, sort of.
The
But
third one, it's like through the
yeah,
photos.
I mean that one I don't really count as like
I don't know.
premonition.
I would count it as a premonition, because she's the one taking all the photos. Like even though she
Oh
didn't
yeah, that's true.
indirectly, even though she wasn't indirectly like doing it, you know what I mean? Like taking it for that reason.
Yeah.
I think she took those photos like for a reason without her realizing it.
Mm,
And I think we can get into like a conversation about that with like Bloodlines, because I think like Bloodlines is like somewhat of the more definitive type of like story. I don't know how else to say it. Like it gives us an idea of like potentially what all of these films could have in connection.
mm.
But going back to like what you were saying, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, you're good. What were we talking about?
That's a great question.
Oh, the Yeah, the premonition stuff. And so I think the reason why the Final Destination just is so awful is because
It's a 3D
for no
premonition.
huh?
They're just they're just premonitions for
Well,
3D sake. That's my view.
not even that. Like the ending premonition just comes out of nowhere because it's like in the structure of these movies we've been told that like, they only get the one big premonition once, and then all of a sudden he's experiencing it again for the ending, and it's just like, what? I mean,
Well,
I guess
yeah,
Final Destination 3 kind of does that.
but it does it in a much better way, I think. It
Mm.
because the argument I'd say for that is the third one. It kind of seemed like it was a premonition for something she couldn't change
Oh.
because she had the premonition after the fact, if that makes sense. Like she had the premonition while the train was already in the motion of that event happening. It's not
Mm.
like she had it before the stop in which everyone got on at.
Mm.
Like the old friends, like at least in the Final Destination, he had it. Like the thing I don't like about it is it feels like he had it so far in advance where he could have like potentially stopped the security guard from dying, but it felt like so random. Like it was a shock moment that I didn't think really worked. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's just like he had enough time to like run all the way to the movie theater. We'll see the premonition, run to the movie theater, stop it all, and like have himself like fucking nailed to the wall. Like a big sequence of events happened leading up to the inevitable like flame that could have led to the explosion that the third one didn't have. Like it felt like death was making her see her death before, like without her able to change it. Well,
Mm.
he was able to in this like fact.
Mm. Yeah, you were talking about the weird CGI visions that he gets. That stuff is really weird. I didn't like that. It's really dumb, and it doesn't. My problem with it is that it doesn't treat the clues as something that we would realistically be able to put together. Um, it's just sort of like random shit happening on the screen, and I'm just like, what is this? But I think now's a good opportunity to talk about the alternate ending of this movie.
The fourth one,
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what it was because
Remember I showed it to you? So original and once again we have an alternate ending that is far worse than the one that we actually got. Um so originally they weren't gonna have gone into the theater yet. Um
oh yeah,
and he goes in to try and like he like he runs through the mall and he finds them, and I think they're still at, like the glasses stand, the stand or whatever, the sunglass stand, and he says some like cryptic shit to her, and he's like, oh, I love you, and it's all that boring shit because they don't have a real relationship. And then he runs off and he manages to stop the thing, but I think he dies in the process or something. So the last scene of the movie is them, like his girlfriend and her friend, and like she's like comforting her, the brunette is comforting the girlfriend, and it just has the dumbest fucking monologue I've ever heard in a movie. Like it's so like ham-fisted for no reason. And then you remember that construction thing in the movie that like the
that
black-haired
causes the
woman.
fire.
No, the black-haired woman.
Oh yeah,
There
yeah,
she
yeah,
looks up and she's like, "Oh, that could kill someone."
yeah.
That falls on them and they die. And
That's right.
one of their hands, severed
It was a
hands, like
previs shot,
flies at the fucking the screen or whatever. That was the
dude.
original ending, and it's really bad.
Oh no, I still prefer that.
I don't know. It's really bad. Like
They both
the
suck. So,
dialogue is really really bad.
dude, I just find it funny because going back to the Final Destination, the girl who plays the redhead girlfriend
Hmm.
plays Patty Spivot in the Flash, and then
Wait, is that her?
yeah, that's her, bro.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah, yeah,
god,
yeah,
that's
bro. Just
fucking
wait.
hilarious.
This gets better. The boyfriend who gets his asshole sucked out went
Hmm.
on to be one of the leads in the Legends of Tomorrow show too.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, bro. So going back to this, it's just
They're
like,
not good in
whoa.
this movie.
They're not good. They're way better in those shows. They're
Yeah.
way better.
I mean, yeah, I guess that. I mean, I guess it wasn't their fault. The movie, the script is not good.
No.
I don't think it's directed in any interesting way either. To be
I do
honest.
find it funny though how like I think 3 or 4 of these movies have like Clear Rivers Hospital in it, and
Oh
I
yeah, the
that's the best
fucking
long
Easter
joke.
eggs for her.
Yeah,
I know I made a joke to you while I was watching Final Destination 2, like I love how Clear is like the Iron Man of this universe, but I just kept seeing her name pop up in like every
everywhere.
movie. Like even in Bloodlines, they say they're when they're talking
Yep.
about the hospital, it's called Deep River Hospital, but like while she's trying to remember, she's like Clear River, and then
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my god, it's
It's
I
her.
I would love to be in a theater and like when they say her name, just hear the audience erupt, and like that's fan service I can get behind.
Well, I think the only ones I've seen in theater, I don't know. Damn, this might age me a little bit. Was I caught the tail end of the Final Destination when it first came out because I was like 10 or something, and I was leaving the theater with my mom, and she went to the bathroom, so I snuck in and I
Oh my
watched the
god.
ending of the movie, and then I saw 5 and then 6 in theaters as well.
Mm.
Those, dude, I just wish I was able to experience them all in theaters because they're just so fun as a theater experience. And I'm so glad that they're making another one because Bloodlines did so well that
Yeah, but it might
I
take
hope.
10 years for it to
I,
come out.
I just hope this encourages you to go see it when it does come out in theaters.
I do, and you know, to briefly talk about Bloodlines, I really didn't like the marketing for Bloodlines
It
because
was really weird.
because you know I remember when we were doing our Final Destination episode, like the first one, and you said like you were gonna go see it and you were really excited and it looked good, and I was just kind of like, I, but the reason why I thought that is because I don't think the marketing did a good job of like showing that this movie was going to be anything different. Like to me, the trailers and stuff made it seem like it was going in like the torture porn direction because it highlights like the more of the death stuff, and I didn't really get a good sense of what the plot was going to be. Um and also I didn't think the special effects looked particularly good.
Oh no, I think it's like the second worst behind the fourth.
I mean, they're not horrible. It's
It's
just
not
it
it's not egregiously bad like it is in
yeah.
the fourth, but like I think it's they use a little too much. I think that's the issue.
Yeah, it didn't look particularly interesting to me even though I liked the first one. And so I was like, oh, I don't. But then it started getting the best fucking reviews of the franchise, and I was like, fuck. And now I am kind of sad that I mean, I would have had to watch all of them before that to catch up, but yeah, because there's things that people will miss if they don't watch the other ones.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I guess
I
we'll
loved
talk
the,
about Bloodlines now.
I, yeah, I loved how it connected all of the other, well, except for the fourth one, but you know, the less said about that, the better. Um, but yeah, because like you know, I like how it kind of retroactively fixes a plot hole that I had that I didn't like about Final Destination 2, because they talk about like, oh, is there any way for us to stop it, and he brings up Kimberly from the second one,
Yeah, baby,
and
the only survivor.
I remember watching that movie and being like, I got to the end and I was like, how does that work? Because like we were talking about earlier, there's a moment where it shows that you can't kill yourself. I don't know. It's still a little iffy, but you know, it's not as bad because even like in Bloodlines and in Final Destination 4, like there's moments where the characters try to kill themselves and it doesn't work. And in the Final Destination, it kind of makes it seem like you kind of can't do it yourself, if that makes sense. Like it still has to be in line with Death's overall design, and then someone else can intervene and like bring you back or whatever. Um, but yeah, when I as soon as I got done with Final Destination, you know, I was like, oh, how does that work? Because you know, someone else had tried to kill themselves and it didn't, and it wouldn't let them, and then all of a sudden she's killing herself, but it does let her. And yeah, so that was something that I kind of didn't enjoy about that movie, but I like in Bloodlines it sort of like fixes it a little bit, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
it makes it work a lot better.
Yeah, and I also do like the nod to like the fifth one where it's like, oh, if you kill someone, you can take their life.
And so I find it funny too because when they look at the babies, even though it's like played as a joke, my first thought was like, you don't know how long those babies have. Like, I hate to bring up that fact, but you're only stealing the life as long as of a life as they have. They don't know like what could happen to the baby. So I just think it's funny that they thought about the idea and that their regular morality just came by because fuck it, dude. I don't know. That's a hard situation for like someone to be in when think about it too. You can't kill yourself like retroactively, but I do like that they found the loophole in like having someone help you kill yourself, but death can interfere with that person at the same time that still is working in his design to kill the person he wants.
Hmm.
Right? So I thought it was really interesting with the really funny plot twist that the one tattoo artist brother was
Oh,
not
isn't a
really
part of the
isn't a part
bloodline,
of the bloodline.
but he
And
dies anyway.
and what was the father's name? Like Kenny Jerry, Jenny something.
It's Ken Fenbury or something like
Ken
that.
Fenberry, and you don't even know who it is, but he plays it off so well that you're just like,
Is this why he always wanted to play
you fucking
catch?
catch.
See, it's moments like that that are funny. Like,
But in like such a dire moment that it works so well. And his death is my favorite too in the film with all of the fucking piercings being ripped
oh yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
And then he gets the cock ring and then you're like, "Oh my god." And then it's the chair that takes him out and then
I love that.
folds him
That's
like
not
a
like it's
pancake.
not even that gruesome until the wheelchair chair part, but it's kind of more gruesome. Like to think about, like the idea of his cock ring getting
Right?
like ripped out.
But then this is where I think the Final Destination formula really works well. In you go back to like, oh, is the brother the part of the bloodline actually going to die now because of the allergy that he has? But then
Mm,
no, he gets it and then stands up, and then the part that you totally forget about comes back into play, and it's the vending machine like little spring just goes through the door as it perfectly opens
yeah,
right into his head and then screws in, and you're like, oh, you feel so bad. It's just like, ah,
yeah. I love all the deaths in this one. I mean the opening is kind of a little much, and that's the one where the special effects really are a little too much.
I think
But
it's a little bit much, but
it is a high concept.
I was just about to say, I
Um,
at least can write that off because they're trying to do a much higher concept than a NASCAR race. You
yeah, I
know,
was gonna say it's better than that.
you know what their original idea for the opening was too, right?
No,
So
what
they
was it
originally
for the
wanted
fourth one?
no for the sixth one.
Oh,
They originally wanted the opening like accident to be on a boat, but then they went back to like the drawing boards and they're like, yeah, you just can't do it better than the Titanic. Like, so then they
oh,
went back and just
that's funny.
remade into this as like their second idea.
That's kind of funny.
Right? It's just like, damn, you really can't make like a better on screen boat accident, right? Like,
Yeah,
well,
not
so why
really.
even attempt it? And honestly, I think what they went for, opted for, is way more entertaining. Because Breck, I don't know if you know who Breck Bassinger is, the one who plays like the young grandma in the opening scene.
No, I don't.
Bro, this is how deep my fucking comic like show knowledge is. Breck
Is she
Bassinger
also?
was, bro, she was not in one of the CWDC shows, but she was the lead of Stargirl for the DC
Oh,
streaming service
shit! I do
that
remember
I
that.
actually liked, bro. She was actually really good in it. It was the one of few that actually worked for me, and then
Hmm.
HBO Max ruined it, but I very much enjoyed seeing her in this. That was just a side little thing to throw out there because I always find it funny how like all of the actors just kind of made their way into these like mainstream shows. Like Devin Sawa is in the Chucky TV series, and
Mm.
he's gonna. I don't know if I sent you the article, but apparently he's gonna be the lead in the Night of the Living Dead remake or day, whichever one it is. One of the George Romero classic zombie films they're remaking, and he's going to be the lead in one of them,
Hmm.
which is going to be pretty cool. But back to Final Destination 6. I like the lore that they set up in this because I think it was about time they needed to start adding some more
Yeah.
definitive answers on what was going on. And while I don't think they entirely offered that, I think they offered a way for us to kind of come up with that ourselves. Like, I like the concept of the bloodlines and potentially thinking that everyone that was originally supposed to die in like all the other incidences were like a part of those bloodlines, or
Yeah,
like
that
the
is kind of
person with the
interesting, right?
premonition might have been that person, and they had the premonition. That's like, I like to have those ideas now because it at least makes the fourth one somewhat more palatable in terms of like a story sense, because I think the concept of the bloodline is cool. But I don't know, I just like that they did that because it was really weird with like Bloodworth and stuff throughout the series. Like, he
I
showed
love
up.
that they gave him a name,
Yeah,
and
they
like
gave him
we
a
know
name.
who he
And
is now.
I want to talk about that too. You know about the whole Tony Todd thing with this movie, right?
You mean the improvised like monologue, or?
Well, not only like the improvised monologue, but like how apparently when the directors approached him to be in this film, they no one had known that Tony Todd was dealing with the stomach cancer at the time.
Oh yeah,
So I think he originally turned it down or something.
yeah.
But one thing led to another. He decided to take on the role again, and he didn't really care. And I think he died a month and a half, 2 months after he filmed his scene in this, and they allowed him to like do that improv like you were saying before. So just, I don't know, I think it was really, there was like something melancholy about his speech in it, because I do think inherently there is more of a deeper meaning to the franchise, and how I do think that's why the franchise in is interesting in the aspect that we all have to deal with the knowledge that we're all going to die, like, right?
Mm.
I don't know. I just think that that's an interesting spectrum to bring to this franchise, and like confronting our own deaths. And these are people literally trying to change the outcome of their own lives. And like, people believe in destiny and shit like that. Like, we're all meant to die at these points, like in these ways. Like, so I think it's an interesting horror on like how we also try to change our own fates on death, whether it's like not in like this extreme way like this, but I thought it was really nice to take a moment of like raw human moment and emotion to just kind of take a back seat from like this kind of, like I was saying, Tom and Jerry type film on death, to like kind of bring it back down for like a really meaningful moment that, like, I'll be honest, it caught me off guard and got me a little emotional.
Yeah, it is. It is like surprisingly like heartfelt. Um, not to say that like they can't like the other ones haven't had like some heart with him, but I don't know. It was just I think the second no that's sorry not the second the third and the fourth one are like desperately missing Tony Todd's character, and then I like seeing him again in Final Destination 5. But I think this one's probably my favorite. And yeah, he is, you can tell that, there he's playing the character a little differently. Um but I don't know, I really liked that we in his final entry in the franchise, we finally got like the definitive answer of like who he is and how he is related to all this stuff. And the fact that it's like just tied together by that huge thematic moment of, his monologue just makes it all so much better.
Yeah, it was a great scene, and I'm just glad they really did it.
Yeah.
I It's not often that I think like films or like franchises get like the opportunity that they did with Tony Todd. Like, most people after finding that out wouldn't come back. Like, you could tell like he was struggling at the time. So for him to like find the power to come back, and like, that's a man dedicated to the craft and like the fan base. And I thought that was also really special for like someone who's been a fan of this most of my life.
Mm.
To see him come back and like not really let that bother like get to him, and be able to like put on the performance that, while not long and not really on the screen too much, it deeply impacted me. And something that I still am just shocked about because I just wasn't expecting that type of, I think, raw emotion from a Final
Mm.
Destination film.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It is interesting how close to his death this movie got released, and
Right?
I don't know. It was just such a interesting. I don't know if coincidence is the right word, in that a lot of a lot of this movie and this franchise is about trying to survive death, and then to just have a character finally be like, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. You know, I mean, yeah, he's probably going to die in a gruesome way, but it's still interesting of being, because all of their characters are in the unique position of like, we weren't supposed to be here in the first place, and now we've had all of this extra time to live, and now we're being faced with the idea of having that taken away. And I just like that he's just really committed to the idea of like, yeah, we're gonna die, and it's kind of something that the Final Destination touched on, but in a less meaningful way. Of like, yeah, where you never know when, and so it's up to us individually to come to terms with that and figure out what we want to do with the rest of our lives.
Absolutely agree. Um, I think after watching that moment in Bloodlines, I was just like, oh man, they're just all fucked. Nothing's gonna work. I'm just like, oh man. I That's the one thing I like about the franchise is it is not hopeful. And I don't think everything needs to be. And I think it's really interesting to find such a hopeful moment in such a dire situational moment at the same time in terms of the scene context.
Hmm.
It crazy. I'm just trying to figure out like how they decided to do the Bloodline story because I feel like Bloodlines is such a different switch of what the other five films are. And when I first watched it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it because the premonition isn't even of the character we follow. So right off the bat, they kind of just switched the formula up. And over time, I grew to like it, but I thought it was really weird at the time. How did you feel like about them switching the formula a lot in like the regards to how the bloodline and order of the family members work, since none of them really take part in the event that it opens with?
I mean, I thought it was interesting. Um, I mean, it didn't bug me too much, the idea of like her experiencing the same dream. Because yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't think, because to me, the idea is that like they shouldn't exist at all. So it's not really about them preventing, their own sort of event. It's more about death catching up to the original event. And so it kind of makes sense that there wouldn't be, you know, a more active premonition. It would just be like the recurring dream sort of side effect deal, if that makes sense. Um, I think for the most part, I enjoyed the changes to the formula, as you said. Yeah, they didn't really bug me, and I just it was more fresh and inventive, and I really liked that, and it made me want to keep watching.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I don't think I thought it was interesting to make the you can't even say it anymore, the survivor group, because they didn't survive anything. I mean, I guess they did, but didn't really at the end of the day.
Yeah,
But I gotta ask you this question:
what's that?
how fucking stupid does that grandmother have to be? Like, how did she survive death for so long, surviving in that house with so many pointy objects surrounding her?
I was kind of thinking
What was
that.
that preventing, my guy?
I really, it really does kind of annoy me that
That's the one thing that
she
annoys
goes
me in
out of
this
her
film.
way to like, you know, make sure everything is like safe, or I guess they described it as fortified.
Fortified
But
from what?
there's
Wind?
just, I don't know, there's just so much fucking shit in her front lawn that I'm just like,
You could
well,
just walk
yeah,
into it, bro.
if you fucking take one step outside, you're gonna fucking die because you have all this shit out here. Um, but yeah, that was kind of the one thing that did kind of annoy me. I was like, who production assigned this?
I I thought it was really interesting too in the way the film kind of portrays death differently in this film, at least as I feel to the others, because I think this is the first time death has felt personal, and I feel like it's because of that family aspect to it all.
Yeah.
Because I just think about the scene in particular when she goes to visit her grandmother in her like little retreat cabin, and she's almost having like a 1v1 battle with death the entire time. Like death is creaking all these little domino effects to ultimately outcome to like something killing her, but like she just keeps preventing it because she's become so hyper aware of it. Like a very interesting dynamic that I think they made death have with an actual physical person,
Mm,
because that's the one thing I don't hold, like I can't hold against the film with Bloodworth, but I wish, I don't say he needs to be in the scene, but I wish they explained his connection to all of the other films a little bit more, because I just find it weird that for him to have such a deep connection to the bloodline, him not going out to such a close person he considers family to talk them through it or like something like that, but he's gone to all these other groups was kind of weird to me. Like I said, it's a small thing, but I don't think it connects for me 100%. But like I said, there's another film, so who knows? It might be like a semi prequel or something where it's like in between like a few films. Who knows? What was I saying before that though? I just lost the train of thought. I'm fried.
um, fuck. Now I don't
Oh,
remember.
just the way like death is
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
his relationship to like the characters, because going back to the way like premonitions work in this film, premonitions really aren't a thing. She just gets this body feeling and just guesses things that happens. And so that's another interesting aspect I found to the film, that they don't have like her seeing visions or like no photos or like things flying in front of her face to give her hints. Like she just kind of assumes what's going to happen, and I think that's what makes the one sister's death so funny.
Oh yeah,
She literally guesses exactly what happens.
yeah. She's just guessing it for the wrong person.
Exactly, that's literally what it is. Uh and that scene when she gets crushed,
That whole scene is fucking funny because I just love that everyone is just like you're fucking crazy, and like the tattoo brother or whatever, like the part where he's the part where he's like licking the garbage truck and shit. That was just really funny to me.
I was just like, bro, you're not going to be protected from like hepatitis. Like,
Yeah, and then yeah, just I wasn't expecting. I was. I kind of saw it going on in the background, and I was like, "Don't!" I was like, "No fucking way!" Like, and then it
yeah.
happened, and then but it goes a step further because her equation didn't account for the garbage truck,
Yeah.
because she hadn't seen it yet. But I remember clocking the garbage truck like when he was walking across the street, and I was like, "Oh, is that gonna be?" And then you kind of, it's like it's the same thing with like the vending machine. You kind of forget about it, and then because the movie's telling you to focus on all these other things, and then all of a sudden it comes back into like focus, and you're just like, "Oh fuck." But
And
yeah, the way that was fucking crazy.
well, it's funny too because like when I rewatched Bloodlines, I physically paid attention to the background to see if like they like actually legit did it in the same order, and yeah, it all happened in the exact same way she did it. And like those are the little things that I think this franchise does a little well, is that it pays attention to the details that just make these type of moments just that much better. And I think that much more enjoyable, because a lot of these films don't really have much of a story, right? It's just people surviving death encounters, right?
Yeah.
So I just think that the films do a really good job at keeping you entertained and connected to these characters, especially in the early ones when I feel like they leaned a little too much into those assholes, like perverts, like kind of weirdos.
Mm.
Like I think that's probably the thing I hold against the third one the most is everyone outside of the main two is just, I don't want to say almost unbearable, just pretty unbearable though. Like almost all of them, I almost am glad they die. Like and like that's not inherently a bad thing, but sometimes thank God for Mary Elizabeth Winstead and I forgot his last name, but Ryan something from the
Oh,
Luck of
his
the
name's
Irish
Ryan.
film. Yeah, his name's actually Ryan. Because the two of
Ryan
them,
Merriman.
yeah, Ryan Merriman, the two of them hold this film, the third one, on their shoulders so well that I don't know. What did you think about the third one?
It's my favorite.
Yeah, you were saying that. I'm curious to hear why.
I mean, like I was telling you, I don't remember if this was on or off the podcast already, but I just like it. It's not a groundbreaking film in terms of like the Final Destination formula, but it just does it so much better than the previous two. You know, you're going from one to two. I think I'd put those on kind of like a similar level in terms of they do things that I like and they do things that I don't like. But overall, I found them kind of entertaining. But the third one was like all the way through. I felt it was a lot more consistent in the writing. Like the characters are a lot more like interesting and rounded. You know, I do really like the two main characters, and I also appreciate that they don't become like
A thing.
boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. Like it just keeps them to being friends. And I liked the way that it implemented the deaths to like the premonition stuff with the photographs. It was much more interesting in like trying to piece together like, oh my god, how are these people gonna die? Because obviously we know like, oh, it's gonna do it in the order and all that, yada yada yada. And yeah, and also I think the kills are pretty decent as well. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I just think there was a lot. I think it has a lot more going for it in terms of the story and like how we get from point A to point B than the other ones do, especially the one that comes after this one. Um,
Yeah.
but
And
yeah, so
hey,
that's
you were saying what's his name wasn't in the third one, but he voices the devil on the
dude.
roller
Shut the fuck up.
coaster.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I'm sorry. I'm
You know
sorry. I
what's
just
funny?
had
You know
to.
what's
I
funny
had
about
to.
that? I was watching the movie and I was hearing
It's like,
the
is that his
devil thing,
voice?
and I remember thinking like I was like, is that fucking him? That's the one thing that I don't like about this movie is that he's not in it, like in it. You know what I mean?
It could have vastly improved an already great film. And I'll be honest, I think even though uh, out of all the films, the opening is probably the most brutal in my eye. Like, dude, when fucking the main dude gets cut in half while trying to stand up, that one always makes me flinch because of how well it's done. Between like the prosthetic of his body being sliced in half, the visual effects for 2006 are surprisingly really good in this movie, in my opinion. Like, I
Mm.
think they spent almost a month filming the entire opening of the film. And
I've
quick
seen
note,
behind the scenes for that stuff.
yeah, dude, it's insane how much between on set with a real roller coaster and in studio with like bits of a roller coaster, they seem so
It blends
well.
together seamlessly.
That's what I'm saying, and see, so seamlessly in a way that I don't think the other films do. And a fun little fact about Final Destination 6, just because I thought this was insane, half of the production time for the film was taken up by the opening of the film. Just
That's
wanted to put
funny.
that out there, just because I thought that was insane. Um, but
I
back
mean,
to
that
number
kind of makes
three,
sense because there's a lot of moving parts in the openings compared to the other ones. Because a
and
lot of the other deaths are a little more simple, and then you've got the big one where like tons of people are fucking dying and shit.
N6 has my favorite kill with the kid dying with the piano falling on him. That's probably
Oh,
the most egregious. Oh my fucking god! I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, that was pretty good.
But back to the third one. As someone who's ridden roller coasters most of my life, this film truly speaks to my heart. Especially as someone who's lived in New York their whole time, or their whole life, most of the time. Like the ending also got to me as my worst nightmare. Like
Oh, the
so,
subway.
yeah, the subway. So literally, the film opened and closed on two of my worst nightmares of all time. Getting in a subway crash in the middle of Manhattan or something,
I you know
and just like crashing on a roller coaster because like some hydraulic fails.
You know what I love about that ending is after all of that, she's still somehow fucking alive just to get run over by a different
Right?
fucking train.
Death is just like, nah, fuck you. I'm gonna keep you alive to to show you everyone's dead.
I know,
And
right?
man, Death really does everyone dirty in that train too. I feel so
Oh
bad for
yeah,
him going through the fucking window and essentially being like
scraped.
scraped. Oh, dude. Oh,
Well, even
like
the sister too, when she like fucking gets blown
just
to
gets like
pieces.
something goes like through the windows, like. And this is where another part of the movie where I think they do a really good job at planning these kills is it's all miniatures too, a lot of that. And I think the
Mm.
lighting, the editing makes it all just sell it so well because there's no way they had the visual effects budget for all this. And between the miniatures, like, I'm just
Well,
really
this movie
impressed
only
with this
cost like
movie.
$25 million.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fucking crazy.
yeah, dude. I know. Like, I'm sure it was expensive for 2006, but there's a lot going on in this film in
Yeah.
comparison to I think a lot of the others. What do you think about the pervert dude like dying to the engine
Oh,
getting
Frankie Cheeks.
Frankie Cheeks, bro? Literally the best character name of all time. Frankie
um,
Cheeks.
I like that one because again, it's like,
Rain so like you didn't expect it.
yeah, that's what I like about it because they're only just starting to piece together things and they're trying to figure out like how he's gonna die, and then all that stuff is going on where they think they're gonna die, and then it's revealed that, oh, it's because they was trying to kill Frankie. And just that reveal is so good. I just remember being like, "Oh shit, was that him?" And then, you know, he gets his head blown off by the fan rotor or whatever.
And it's really cool because I think the film, like, I think all these films play on your expectations based off what the others have told you already. Like, the
Mhm.
first one's pretty simple. Everyone dies in the order that they did. But the second one kind of switches it up.
Oh,
It's
the
the
retroactive
reverse.
order. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's the reverse of that. So you're coming into this and you don't know, like, what the order's going to be because you saw them die in a specific order, but at the same time they really didn't. Like, you saw the goth couple fall and you didn't see them like really die. They just both fell off screen and died with each other essentially, or like what one like dangled for an extra second or something. So you didn't know how they were going to play it, and I think they do that really well, like continuing with the franchise. That I think is I just think really smart writing.
Well, the other thing too I like about it is that it's kind of the order is also kind of dependent on where they were sitting on the roller coaster, and
Yeah.
that becomes a major plot point because they don't know who was sitting in front of them. Um, and yeah, and so I don't know. It's just so much more intriguing when there's a little more mystery involved, and you're trying to figure out like how all of these pieces kind of fit together.
The one thing about this film, it's a story thing. It's a nitpick thing. Someone I'm sure out there is going to be like, "Bro, this is really what you're noticing and you're going to complain about." Yes, yes it is. The one thing that just always kind of bothers me when I watch it is I don't know how the opening incident still occurs if Frankie never goes on the roller coaster. Cuz I know the that little gas line gets cut, but my main thing is I thought most of the ride like crashing was due to Frankie dropping his camera and it causing the railing to go off. That was more like how I viewed it, and that
Mm.
the brakes were only kind of like an extra thing on top of that. So if the brakes just like didn't work, like I don't know, because like the opening, they still go around that opening corner and they still die the same way, like the boyfriend and the girlfriend. But it's just like if the brakes didn't work, that still shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like it's a nitpick thing like that. I'm just thinking that kind of like throws me out because it's just like if this person was never a part of it, then this should have never happened. But none of the other movies in the franchise do it, so I really don't care. But I just wanted to see if like you thought about that or if you ever like noticed it.
I did not, and that is interesting. Uh, It
It's
kind of
an
makes me
annoying
it
nitpick.
kind of makes me want to rewatch it and see if
Yeah.
that is true. Like if if he didn't get on, if that really would have happened. I don't know. That's interesting.
Right, that's one of the things that like I've watched the third one so many times now. I always watch it. I'm like, dude, I don't know if I should be frustrated about this or if I'm missing something. Are
Hmm.
you looking it up?
No, 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 no.
I just heard you go straight to your keyboard. I'm like, uh, but I do like that everyone just kind of dies in absurd ways. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
jock dude too. Like just this walking fucking testosterone driven man, and he's just like pumping iron, and you think the swords are just gonna like chop his neck off, but it doesn't, and then it's just the weight just clapping in and exploding his brain.
yeah. See, that's the kind of shit that is really fun to watch because the
Right?
movie's telling you like, oh, it's this, and you keep seeing it. Um, but I think it's funny because it's a combination of the two things in the photo because when they first guess that like, oh, it looks like something's falling on his head,
Which
but
they
then
got right.
when they get there, they're like, oh, the swords, it keeps showing you the swords, and then the sword is only a part of that equation where it cuts the um whatever that leverage line thing on the press that he's using, and then yeah, the weight when he goes to do it again, the weight just fully drops and crushes his head. I thought that was really interesting and really good. Like,
I think like another good one is Ryan Merriman's picture is because I think it's so simple and so obvious that it's so unobvious that when they get to it, it's just like, of course, it's an explosion in his face. And where is he
I
right
love the
now?
way
He's
he said that.
like That's what. Like,
The
do
line
I die in a
delivery on that.
horrible? Do I die horribly? Do I?
Yeah.
Do I just like not exist anymore? Does my body just like fly all over? And I think this film does like the best post premonition. I don't know what else to call it of the films, just because I like the way it becomes like almost a detective film in a way.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
looking at all these photos that she's taken and like almost like non really focused ways. Like she's just kind of taking it for the yearbook, and then she just comes across them. So like, what the fuck? And then they try to figure out through the photos like how someone could die in the future. It's almost kind of like Minority Report a little bit. Like it's kind of fucking weird. Like so, I really appreciate that about the story. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead's like the best actress. I love her. Absolute fan.
Yeah, I didn't know. I never realized that she was in these movies until we
Really, I
watched
thought you knew
until
that.
no, not until we watched the first one, and I went and I started looking at all the other ones, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't know she was in this one. And then I
Yeah.
started seeing like some behind the scenes stuff. Um, but yeah,
Bro, what about that? What about that shot when she has the I forgot which premonition. I can't remember. It's the first one. I think it's the first one when she's on the roller coaster. There's a behind the scenes of them talking about her doing the tear when they do the quick zoom out from the premonition, and how she sat there for 10 minutes in complete silence on set trying to get the one tear to come out of her left eye, and everyone sat there in absolute wonder when she actually did it, and then everyone just like sat there congratulating her and just like giving her a giant round of applause for like a bunch of minutes. I was,
are you serious?
yeah, bro, I swear to God.
Damn,
um
that's fucking crazy.
right, so I do appreciate that like this franchise, they don't try to take like shortcuts. Like
Yeah.
another good thing that this film does as the others are the practical effects are so fucking good, bro. Like so fucking good.
Well, I think it's funny because like pretty much that entire opening of like the second movie is all practical. It's like it's just practical
Dude,
explosions.
it
I
all
mean,
is.
some of it does kind of push the realm of like suspension of disbelief because I don't think any of those cars would explode
Oh
like that.
no.
Like you
It,
know those gas
it's an over
explosions.
explosion,
It's like,
yeah.
oh my god, are all these fucking cars
Bro,
carrying
a truck
propane
wouldn't
tanks?
just like drive through another truck that's been blown up and then just like drive into another person. Because that's how like
Yeah,
she dies at the end of that.
yeah.
Um, do you just want to get to the second one, or do you have any like last things for the third?
I mean, no, I mean, other than just yeah, I agree with what you were saying with the practical effects. Like, I don't know, the first three definitely feel the best in terms of the inventive ways in which they achieve the look of the deaths.
Yeah.
Obviously, the third one has more of a mix of like the special effects and practical, but yeah, I don't know. I really love those.
And then we get to the sequel from I think 2003, Final
This is
Destination
the year I
2.
was born.
Yeah, so that's what I find crazy, bro. Is I think I said this on the first episode
Yeah,
on
you
the
did. Yeah.
Destination that I was born on the day that the first one was. So I just find it funny that you were born the same year as the second one.
Yeah, well, it's different though because you were born the day that it released, though, right?
Yeah, I was literally born March 17th, 2000. Like
And
that,
then for
dude.
me,
If
it's
that's not
just
like fucking. And by the way, bro, I just find it even crazier that the main character of Final Destination grew up on Long Island where I grew up when I first like the first 10, 11, 12 years of my life, and like going at a JFK airport my entire life, bro, like that was fucking horrifying. Like uh but neither here or there. The second one, dude, it opens with an absolute fucking banger of like an opening. This premonition is so good. I just don't know how else to put it because you just touched on it before with it being like all practical effects, and you just feel the raw grittiness of all these things flipping, exploding. Like, dude, I don't. It's still a miracle that they achieved that log going through the cop's face and having it look so good. Like, there's so many things that I'm really impressed that they were able to achieve with not only this film but just the opening that dude, I still go back to the second one and I'm like, dude, this is just so fucking good. It hooks you right off the tip.
well, yeah. I obviously I think this is probably the one of the most iconic fucking death sequences in the franchise, and understandably so. Like it's fucking insane. Like just the amount of chaos and fucking
And
destruction
it
that's
just
going
all just
on.
unfolds just so fast. Like it just
Yeah.
happens. You're just like, how do we get here, guys? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know. I knew I've seen clips of this scene before, so I kind of knew it was coming. But I don't know, seeing it all in one go is interesting. Just yeah, I don't know. I mean, even to this day, like, because my brother came home too while I was watching these movies, and he was like, "What are you guys watching?" Because he heard all like the screaming and shit, and I was like, "Oh, we're watching Final Destination 5 or whatever, whichever one I was on." And he was like, I still get I still get scared of um log trucks and shit because of those movies. And I don't think he's seen any of them like straight. I think he's just only seen that clip.
Oh my god. That's crazy. Fuck. Um yeah, I think the second film also has another great like leading duo in this
Mm.
film. Like they have really good chemistry, and I really like how after she has the premonition in the beginning, it instantly flips the script on you by having all of her friends just die right off the bat.
Oh yeah. That I did kind of find that interesting because you kind of expect the group of friends to kind of survive
Survive.
together, but then it's just her.
Because you're just like, you're watching this, you're just like, damn, bro, how the fuck is everyone just gonna, from this one car, gonna get out of this? And they don't.
Yeah.
Um, I think the cast of characters work better than the first one. I just think as a unit, they're just funnier together. Like you were saying with the guy with the revolver, the black guy with the glasses, I forgot his name. He just the way his character works with the others is where I think those comedic points we were talking about before come in really well, that I think the franchise does really well, in
Hmm.
which it finds the comedy in the horror of everything going on. And I think
Yeah.
that's just really good. Like when they first meet up and they're explaining like what's going on and all their reactions are just so funny. Like, and I think that was like right after the mother lost her son,
Yeah.
right? And
I
then she,
think that entire because they're like death proofing the house, and then fucking she leaves and he's going. They get on the same elevator, and I think it's funny how they all can kind of see like the signs, which is it. I mean, it's an interesting bit of lore that I don't think that is really ever continued in the other ones, because a lot of the other ones only focus on like the protagonist. I mean, the less so in the third one because obviously it's through the photos. But yeah, I think in this one it's interesting that all of them can kind of see the signs, and the coke addict is the one that's like, I see a man with hooks. And then you're like, oh fuck, it's the dude in the elevator. But even then, it doesn't do it in the way that you think it does. Like you think like the hook part is gonna be like what kills her, but it just ends up like pulling her hair, and then she gets stuck in the fucking elevator. I love that part because you've got like all of these characters. Like you've got the black dude is freaking out, the dude with the hooks is freaking out, and then you've got fucking Clear and the other woman coming down, and they're all trying to fucking stop it, and then her head just gets cut off, and like it's just so funny when Clear and that woman walk back into the fucking apartment just covered in blood, and everyone's just like, what happened? I couldn't help but laugh when that happened. I think this one's one of the funnier ones, like in
No,
terms of like
easily.
irony.
Because you got the stoner dude too, who's just like cracking nonchalant shit constantly. Like,
Yeah, I will say though, my one issue with this is the way and is the order of like the deaths, because I this movie and all, I mean all of them do, but it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way that this one stresses like the order in which they die, and then it quickly becomes irrelevant.
yeah, once they find out, like, oh, you could just kill yourself.
Well, not even that. It's like because it makes a big deal about the order until they're on the road, and then the order stops mattering because I don't remember the exact order it was supposed to be, but I remember watching it, and then one of them died, and I was like, I thought it was supposed to be this other one that died first.
Well, that's the thing is,
Um,
I don't think the order really matters because Claire's still alive.
but it
That's
does though because it's doing it in the reverse order. That's what we're told, because it starts with the dude in the lottery dude, and then it goes to the mother and son. But then all of a sudden, once the car crashes, it stops following the order, and that was something that really annoyed me.
I feel like over the franchise's like expansion, I feel like they at least could have it like explained that way in like the sense of like they make death kind of not really follow his own rules. Like they over time they've made it clear that death kind of does whatever he wants. So I'm just kind of including that in everything that might not make sense in that way. Like that I know I had the thing with Joey Cheeks like his
Frankie Cheeks.
Frankie Cheeks, not Joey Cheeks, Jesus Christ, with his camera. But I don't really feel like that was like death changing anything rather than just like the filmmakers might have fucked something up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so like that doesn't bother me as much. The thing that gets away from me with the second film is I feel like it's the same thing with the sixth movie is the climax kind of feels like it's trying to be bigger than it needs to, and it
Mm.
just leads to all this chaos that doesn't really amount to much in my opinion. Like you find out that the woman was never in the wreck in the first place, the woman that was pregnant with the baby. So Claire's dead now, the black dude with the glasses is dead now, and so they're just kind of hoping that she can kill herself and just hope for the best, right? Like that to me that's just kind of lame. Just having her drive straight into the water and drowning herself. It feels a little anticlimactic, and that's kind of what happens with blood bloodlines, where she's literally sitting in the van, stuck, just drowning, essentially, not at her own will. But I mean, going back to the fact that Death let them walk away at the end of the sixth movie just to come back for them. So that's why I think like playing against his own rules is also like another
Mm.
factor to bring that back up as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just something that I was thinking about while I was watching. That it kind of took me out of it in the moment because again, it kind of stresses the order thing. But I mean, it is a little more of a nitpick because obviously this is the only one where it does it in the reverse order for no particular reason whatsoever. Um, but I don't know. Other than that, like it's still enjoyable. I don't hate the ending. It is a little bit of a plot hole when you first watch it. I was just like, how does that work? But it is kind of explained a little bit in Bloodlines. I yeah, I do really like the ending
I
because
was gonna
again, it's
say the
funny.
ending's
It's really
great.
funny. Just that,
It's
like, oh
so
yeah,
unexpected
this
too.
your friend saved him, and then just you kind of
It's
see
like,
them
oh
give the
yeah,
look, and then they the fucking grill just explodes. I just thought that was really funny.
but it goes back to like what the franchise does really well because you totally don't like think about him being there and being saved from whatever the plan was. So it just goes over your head and then it just happens and then it just ends. And I find it really interesting that of all the people in all these films, they choose to keep uh, her to be like the sole survivor. Because I'm pretty sure in three or four or five, one of no, not five, three or four, somewhere, some way. I think in the third one. So this is really weird. I don't know if you know this about the third film. When it came out on DVD, you know how Netflix came out with like that Bandersnatch shit back in like 2018, 2019, where it's like choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
So Final Destination did that in 2007 or 8 when the DVD came out, and it had different storylines and different deaths. And in that,
for the movie.
yeah, for the movie, you could choose like different outcomes, like you would on Bandersnatch. And
What?
so there was a storyline that had, I think it was her dying, but it was retconned in the from the DVD. Like it's still in the DVD, but like they retcon that story and just saying because it's like a choose your own adventure type thing. It doesn't matter. It was just something they put there. But I thought it was interesting that they killed her in like that way, and they choose to keep the police officer guy dead because I think in the third or fourth one they acknowledge that he died like 5 years after the events of the second movie, or somewhere they mentioned
I
that
don't
in the
remember that.
franchise. Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah,
I don't
or it
think
might have
that's
been a
right
deleted scene.
because I don't remember him
I'm
ever being confirmed as dead.
Don't prove me wrong, Leah.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Let's go to the Final Destination wiki. Let's see. Let's see what they have to say. No, he's not dead.
Are you
There's
sure?
nothing in here that says.
I thought I saw somewhere that he apparently dies like 5 years after the second film.
No, because in the Final Destination Bloodlines part of this wiki page, it says when the main characters of the film speak to William Bloodworth, he mentions that there are only two ways to beat death. One of them being by dying, confirming that Kimberly survived. Although Thomas is not mentioned, it is heavily implied that he survived due to Kimberly disrupting Death's plan. The interview also confirmed that Kimberly and Thomas are the only two survivors of the franchise that defeated death.
Okay, interesting. I thought I saw somewhere that he dies like 5 years after the events of it.
I'm
Interesting.
seeing that thrill ride thing on the Wikipedia. That's what it was called. It was the thrill
Yeah,
ride
I forgot.
edition.
Yeah, I forgot what
Also
the name of it
included an
was.
optional feature called Choose Their Fate, allowing viewers to make decisions at several points in the film. Most provided only minor alterations to the death scenes, but the first choice allows the viewer to stop Wendy, Kevin, Jason, and Carrie from boarding the roller coaster before the premonition, ending the film immediately.
See, that's funny.
That's
That's
kind of
funny.
interesting. I didn't know that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Hey, 2007, 2008. That was innovative.
Yeah,
um, but yeah, I think we should get to the final one, which
Final
I
Destination 5.
Final Destination 5, which spoiler alert is my favorite of the bunch.
Mm.
Um, I just this one just I love all the death scenes. I love the opening incident, and I think this film has the best character relationships of any of the films. I know
Mm,
I think Bloodlines comes close because it's like a family dynamic, but I really think in Final Destination 5, you see a real progression of a lot of different relationships in the film that you don't get in the others. Like specifically with oh my god, why am I gotta go to his name? With like
Sam.
Sam and Peter. Like I really like the evolution of their character and their relationship over time, that like you don't see someone kind of switch 180 once learning that if you take someone else's life you get their time, which I find funny that Peter chooses to kill someone that also has expiring time like him first until he chooses to kill the cop. But that's neither here or there.
What do you
I think
mean? What do you mean? Because Molly wasn't supposed to die.
no, wasn't he trying? Oh, that's right.
That's why he
I
tries to kill
forgot.
her.
Yeah, that's right. That is
He
right.
kills the cop by accident.
No, the cop comes up and checks if she's okay, and he comes up behind him and shoots
Well,
him.
no, I
No.
mean, yeah, but when I say by accident, you know what I mean. Like he
Oh,
wasn't trying. He that wasn't his
okay.
intended target. That's what I
Oh
mean.
no, wait. I thought. Are you sure? I
Yeah,
thought he.
yes, bro. I watched it the other
No,
day.
bro, I'm pretty sure that motherfucker just dropped him because he was already gonna like be acquitted of murder. So he said I remember him saying a line saying, "I might as well kill him. I don't want to spend my life in jail," like something like
No,
that.
he's saying that referring to killing Molly.
I know, so that's why he killed the cop.
No, bro, you're not
Yeah, bro.
listening. So he goes to kill Molly. The cop comes. He kills the cop, and then Molly's like, "Okay, you have his life." And then she's like, you just go. And then he's like, well, but you just witnessed me kill a federal agent, so now I have to kill you because I don't want to spend the life that I just earned in jail.
Okay, yeah, fair. Backwards, but still like the same outcome.
Mm,
Um,
more or less, I guess.
bro, he still intentionally killed him. That's my point.
Yeah, sort
Neither
of.
here or there. I like the relationship between Sam and Molly. I think it's the only one with like actual character
Chemistry.
issues and chemistry as well. Like I feel like you actually see them go through the motions of a relationship and
Yeah.
like figuring out if they have a true future with that. That's the thing about this movie. It
Spoiler
is
alert,
so
they
blatant,
don't.
bro. This film is so blatantly a fucking prequel, and it tells you at every single turn until the end that it pisses me off that no one like that. That's what makes this movie so great, is that the ending twist is so fucking impactful and so good that not only is it like, oh my god, it's a prequel, they really died on flight 180. These are characters you feel so fucking bad for. These are the
Yeah.
first genuine characters I actually felt real like. I'm like, oh, I didn't want to see them die more so than the people in the second film because of that relationship that you saw them like figure out and build through the film, because like they go through being broken up, coming back together through this tragic event, and like figuring it out together. Like I don't know, I think this film is the most complete between like the character stories, the arcs, and just the overall deaths, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Speak on it, bitch.
I mean, I don't know. I remember watching it and just being like, wow, this feels, because there's a lot of it that kind of feels more like a drama than like a horror film, and I thought that was really interesting, sort of bridging the gap between like the gnarly death scenes. um I
It's
don't know,
also
yeah,
shot differently too.
yeah, you really get the sense that they're all kind of friends even if they don't really like each other at times. um and you can see that in those moments. Well, I mean, for some of them, obviously, there's the racist pervert dude, and then there's the dude from Anchorman that they're not really friends with. But I mean, you can still kind of see that they care about each other's lives. And so yeah, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. That yeah, this is the one where I think the characters do feel the most well written. Like they have things going on in their lives. Um, they the main character, he like wants to be a chef, and he has a girlfriend, and she broke up with him, and then he doesn't want to take this job in Paris or whatever, like all that stuff. The characters felt like they could have existed in real life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree because I like how the film opens up on the fact that they're breaking up rather than ever seeing them in a relationship. So you don't
Hmm.
have like that foresight on what their life was before like this event really was.
Hmm.
And so I thought it was an interesting perspective to just have the like ensuing event become this glue for them. Not in like the way the fourth one does it because they don't really have issues. They're just like, we're a couple. We're going to figure this out together. There's no drama between them. It's just really fucking bland. And I think that's why I think this one is so much better because it comes off the heels of that fourth one that I think this one just does all those things far better. Um,
Yeah.
I like the way Bloodworth is included in the film too. He does his typical 2.5 3 minute scene with the monologue about death and what he gives you like that little tease on what you need to do to fight back for this film, and that's what you
My
love about
question is,
it.
I don't know how he knows that. Like, if
Well,
you kill someone.
that goes back to what I was saying about Bloodlines and how I was disappointed that they never really talk about or explain how he connects to the other characters and like how
Mm,
he kind of see because it feels like in 1 2 and 5 he feels like this external force trying to combat it.
hmm. To me, he feels more like a harbinger, not really trying to combat it, but just sort of like there watching and just waiting for like death to play its part. Yeah, I don't know. I just that's probably the one nitpick I have is that I don't. Yeah, it doesn't really explain how he knows that you can kill someone um before the events of this movie, because for us this is like the first time that it's ever happened. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting bit of lore. I like that. It makes this movie more interesting in them sort of like grappling with more than just trying to survive, but what it takes to survive. And I like the twist at the end where there's like a mini twist where the what's his name, the not Roy, Nathan, he accidentally kills the union worker or whatever, or the union president, and then he gets his years, and then at the end it's revealed that he was gonna die any day. And then the fucking airplane landing gear just fucking immediately crashes through the bar that they're in.
I just find it so funny how the fucking landing gear just falls directly on him too. It doesn't affect anyone else in the vicinity.
Yeah.
And he's drinking next to someone too. So it's those like quirky little things that like the film writes that like death has a sense of humor in some way, right? Like that's what I like about it too. Is like death is somewhat of a character in and of itself
Yeah.
in
Well, I
all
think
these
it's interesting
films.
too because Bloodlines, the movie after this, like Iris refers to him or refers to death as a him. Like I just thought it was interesting. Like it feels, yeah, it does really feel like death becomes like a really almost personified in a way, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this movie was really good. It's a bit slow at times, but I think the deaths are a little bit kind of scaled back. They're not as like gory, but still kind of gruesome. Like obviously you have the girl,
Dude,
that
that one's so good because that one
the
always makes
gymnast
me
one.
fucking like quench, bro. Like I can never, even knowing what's gonna happen, it just the way it all unfolds, especially for a first time watch. It's just like, dude, what's gonna happen? Because you kind of assume, it's not gonna be directly the screw that's gonna hurt her, but you never think that it's gonna be someone else stepping on the screw that like leads to
Yeah,
something falling over that fucks her up and makes her fly off. Like, and then she like mangles her body. You're like, oh my god! And the boyfriend's watching her, and like this is where the effects come in well because it just holds on her flying in the air and just snapping. Like you just see it all.
I just really like this one is where the tension stuff is at its peak
So good.
because you're just holding on her doing the routine, and then she's almost stepping on the screw, and then she's almost getting electrocuted, and then it just keeps building up these puzzle pieces that once they all fall into place, you're just like, what the fuck, and it
Yeah.
just results in one of the most horrible fucking Like just hearing her bones crack is so fucking disgusting.
just all
Like,
snapped, and you're just like,
yeah.
oh my god, bro. And, like, I understand why the boyfriend would be fucking scarred after that.
Well,
Like,
see, that's the other thing that I like too. Like, I like how the script uses her death to
as like a
progress his
yeah,
change of character into him just becoming an asshole. But um, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Um,
like the deaths have a purpose outside of death coming for them, essentially. Like, it progresses another character's character, right? Like, it
mm,
makes them do something that they wouldn't do. Like, it leads him to like kill people. Like,
mm,
something we see in the next film, people who aren't driven because they didn't experience something that he did. Like, that's what I really like about the fifth one. Like, going back to what you said about it being kind of boring, I don't mind that because the characters are much more enjoyable in their dynamics to watch than I think all the other ones, outside of maybe the third. I do think some of those character interactions are cool to watch, but I really want to know like what their relationship problems are. Like, I care about those things, which
yeah,
make me like, dude, that's why I like the ending twist so much. Outside of it being the twist, like, oh man, they were on flight 180. Is like, you genuinely feel broken for them because you know that they're going to start their new life together.
it's interesting because the whole movie is about them sort of reconciling and deciding to take that next step. Like that's the entire point of like their character arcs, and then just to have at the end it be just ripped away from them is just so heartbreaking.
And I think this is where I wish Bloodlines help connect the dots of the bloodline a little bit better.
Mm,
Because after watching this, you would assume that, like, Death came after Alex because he was a part of the plan to kill someone who was a part of the original plan. And, like, that was something that they introduced in the second one. Because in the second one, everyone was a part of, like, this second movie because they
they
took
were supposed to
places.
die.
Yeah, they were supposed to die in an accident, but because they all survived in the first one, all of their individual deaths made those other characters in the second one like replace them, skipping their own deaths. Like,
Yeah.
so I wish Bloodlines help explain that a little bit better because to me it seems like all of the characters kind of just got saved randomly, and like it wasn't something connecting them all outside of just being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm.
Because Bloodlines kind of feels like it directly goes against that, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like there's enough gray area between the way death works and like how all these characters actually do connect. Because, dude, it's still my favorite ending of the film, like of
Yeah,
any of
this one
them.
definitely has probably the best ending, and not even just in terms of like because you kind of expect the endings to be like really gory and all that, but it's not even that. It's just the idea that not only how it connects to the first one, like directly into the first one, but also how it wraps up the the story of the just its own movie. I don't know. I really love it. It's fucking great.
And I like the way they film it too, and like the perspective of him, because right when he notices it, because he has like a premonition, but not a premonition. I forgot what it was that like it gives him the hint. That's I think it's when they start fighting from the original film that gives him the hint something's wrong. But like when they're in the flight, like having it us watch his reaction. Like his girlfriend dies first, and he's the one who dies last. So watching him experience his love die first, and then the plane die, and then you watch him just get incinerated is just like awful. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like you can say that about any of the other characters, and I think that's why it works so well.
The other thing too that I like that this climax is different from the other ones because a lot of the climaxes focus on like stopping the death's great
Cycle.
design stuff, but this one and it goes into like the in Final Destination it's the theater blowing up. In Final Destination 3 it's the the horse and the fireworks stuff. In Final Destination 2 it's the baby and all that stuff. But
Hospital.
I like how in this one it's just like when I remember when was watching, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a slasher movie ending. It's just them like duking it out.
Yeah.
But it felt natural still, and it felt like interesting because now it feels more personal. It's not like this grand entity of death. It's just they're fighting their friend essentially.
And I think that I like the small little detail after he kills his friend with I think it's the roasting fork thing or whatever it is that he stabs through him is I think the cop's gun falls onto the stove, heats
Oh
up
yeah,
too
yeah, yeah,
much,
and
and
it goes
causes the
off.
gun to go off. And I
Yeah,
like that little detail. Like that's the life that he just like used up because like his friend's time was always supposed. Like that's the little stuff like I really like that makes those little details work really well. Like he
yeah,
just used up his buddy's time because his buddy's time was always supposed to be then.
hmm,
It's just like, dude, what?
yeah.
Um,
It's yeah. I don't know. It's really interesting.
that's why I wanted to watch these twos. I don't think people give the franchise enough credit for I how I want to. I'll just say smart the scripts are and how they use the events in different character ways and like how they use the deaths after like the main one to progress characters and like they use it as like almost a theme park of what can the mind come up with that makes something so mundane to us like going over a bridge, going to the dentist, or like in the fifth one going to the eye doctor, having the laser go off accidentally, but then that's not what kills her. It's her falling out of the window. And then her one good eye gets crushed by the car. Like,
Oh,
it's the funny ironicism of like life itself that I think is littered throughout all these films that is touched upon so much that I don't think people realize that I just really enjoy going back to all these films because there's still things that we fear about. Bro, I hate flying. I'm flying. I'm going away pretty soon, dude. Fucking, I always think about Final Destination 1, bro. It's my worst nightmare. And I'm flying into JFK. Like, I'll just keep that there. But I say we get into the opening, like, premonition rankings, and then we'll rank the films.
okay.
So, rank your premonitions first.
Ah, shit. Fuck.
Gotta go from worst to best, though.
Oh, from worst to best. Okay,
Yeah,
well, obviously the worst one is the
that's what I'm
final
saying. I think it's easy to
destination.
say what the worst one is.
Yeah, that one's definitely the worst. Ah, shit. How do you even do
This is when it gets
this?
hard.
I don't even know like which one would be. Ah, shit. Um, this is really bad. I didn't think this would be so hard. I guess next I'll do Bloodlines.
Wow.
Not that I'm saying it's no, not that I'm saying it's bad. I just think it's a
Wow.
little
What a
bit
loser.
much. Um, After that, I would probably say the third one. Um, this feels wrong. And then I
Someone's going to be
guess
upset.
I guess I'll do Final Destination, then Final Destination 5, and then Final Destination 2. I don't fucking know. Because they're all good except for that last one. I don't know. I guess we'll just go with that, I guess.
Dude, no, it's hard because I think that the definitive like last one is
I could
the
rank them by
Final
endings,
Destination.
but I don't know about the openings.
The openings are hard because I think so many are just so good for like
Yeah.
plenty of different reasons. But
Hmm.
last one is definitely the Final Destination for number 5. I like the opening for Final Destination, but I think the ending of Final Destination 5 does it better. So
Mm.
I think it's hard to put that higher when I think like you got all the other ones. Because then I'll go Final Destination Bloodlines for number 4. Just because I agree with you, I do think it goes a little bit too much, and that's for like I that's someone who's been to like the CN Tower and shit, and like this movie is like literally my biggest fear going there. But like I do think the CG does notch it down a little bit because it's just there's something to it that makes it look off. But then I gotta do Final Destination 3 for the number 3 spot because fucking like I was saying, 2006 they make this look really good.
Mm.
Then number 2, I would go Final Destination 5 just because in comparison to Final Destination 2, it's just not as raw because they didn't do it like as practically. Like it's very much a stage in the fifth one. Because wow, when you watch number 1, which is Final Destination 2, my guy, you just do you feel the impact on every single person who just gets hit by a log,
Yeah,
ran over by a truck, or get blown up, and it's
I think
awful.
I think that's the thing is that with these rankings, this one in particular, the only like the final destination has to be last, and then I think Final Destination 2 has to be first. But the other everything in between, like I honestly wouldn't blame anyone for their order. And that's kind of similar to how we're going to get into like the actual rankings of the films. Like,
Yeah. Do you just want to do your ranking right now?
yeah. Do you want me to go from
Yeah,
worst to
go
best?
from worst to best.
All right. So at worst, obviously the Final Destination. I if anyone, yeah, if anyone has the Final Destination higher on their list, I think you need to have your head scanned or something. Like you need to check your taste and stuff because if you don't think this is objectively the worst movie in the franchise, you're wrong. Um, but yeah, next I have Final Destination 2. Um, like I said, I think this one and the first one are kind of the same, and for me, like on the level, like each one does things that I do and don't like, but I think overall they're really entertaining. Then I have now this is where we're gonna get into controversy. So then I have Final Destination 5, then Final Destination Bloodlines, and then Final Destination 3. Again, they're all kind of on the same level for me. Um, I think those ones are really interchangeable, and I think every time I revisit this franchise, I'm probably gonna have a different answer for which one's my favorite. I think right now, Final Destination 3, just because I really liked what it did with the formula in sort of like ironing out all the kinks from the previous two movies, and I do like the mystery aspect. Bloodlines just does a lot of really interesting things in adding new lore, and I do like the main conflict of like just the idea that death over all the years has been trying to stomp out this one family that got away. And then Final Destination 5, yeah, I mean we just got done talking about it. I it's again it does some interesting lore stuff. But also just I just love how a lot more grounded it is in how it writes the characters, and I think a lot of the deaths are more impactful because of it. And then yeah, that twist ending is just to die for, literally. Pun 100% intended.
uh, no, I
Oh,
feel
I
like
forgot to I forgot to do my ratings. We'll do the ratings last, but give me your rankings.
yeah, I feel like you were saying the first 5 are kind of interchangeable, but 6 is obviously the Final Destination. 5, I put Final Destination. While it's still a really good movie and I enjoy watching it, I think in terms of like rating kills, characters, I don't think this film has the best. It has a good opening, but I feel like outside of Stifler's death, a lot of them are kind of underplayed. Like I don't find them as entertaining as most of the other franchise, and that's nothing to the film because it's the first one, so I can't fault it that much. But then at number 4, I got Final Destination 2. I feel like this one might be controversial because I was telling you I think like a lot of people in the fan base like number 2 the most. But like you were saying before, I still think it has some of the kinks of the first one, just with a lot better kills.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. I don't like the characters much more than I do from Final Destination. A lot of them are just interchangeable one character trait type people that I don't really care about. But then going with number three, I've got Final Destination Bloodlines, which I really enjoyed. A great fucking film. It's highly rewatchable and doesn't suffer from like the character and writing issues that I think those first two struggle from. But going back to the visuals, they don't always hold up, which is kind of just like it's defeating because I hate bashing visual effects, but it's like the fourth one was shit, but then the five one was really good, but then the sixth one looks shit. But it's like what 12 years, not even 14 years later since then. So it's just weird the standards on those things, especially when they were had put so much time into that sequence in the opening of the Bloodlines for me is kind of, felt kind of weird. But everything outside of that looks really good, so I can't fault it too much. But the kills are really good. And then we got the second film up, which is Final Destination 3. Great characters, even better kills, great practical effects, and like I was saying before, I like the detective aspect to the film, and I mean Mary Winstead just makes it an instant five. But then Final Destination 5 is my favorite just because I think it's the most grounded without making the situation seem as ridiculous as I think all the films seem to do outside of the first one. Like,
Mm.
I think they make the idea of death coming after them not seem stupid, and they make it actually feel like a dire consequence, and you care more about the characters. And the twist at the end is so good because of what the twist is, but then it's also really good because I feel like the characters you see die are the ones you care about the most, and that relationship you follow like kind of be repaired after kind of just jumping in right during the dismay of it all.
Mm.
So I think all of that works in the favor of the film for it to be number one right now, but like you said, I think they could be interchangeable as time goes on.
Yeah.
But I think because we've been going on for so long, we'll just do a rapid fire of our ratings for each film. So just give us the rating out of five for each one, and we'll call it a day. We'll do the
No, I
wrap
want to
up.
hear what you had to say about them, bro. I want to see what you wrote.
Oh, I don't think I even wrote anything about them.
Yeah, you did. I looked at them.
Oh, did I? Okay, I have to look it up. Hold up. Let me. Oh, I saved it. Let me look it up again.
Anyways, I'll do
Yeah,
mine
you go
while you're
first.
looking. So, I'm just gonna include the first one since you know, as a recap, I gave this a 3.5, and my review was thank God they didn't stick with the original ending, but this one isn't much better either. That was something that I forgot to bring up. I did watch because you can watch the deleted scenes for Final Destination, the original one, which includes, unfortunately, the alternate ending. Oh my god, it kind of has the same issues of the Final Destination, like alternate ending, in which the dialogue is just not very subtle, and it oddly becomes very spiritual for some reason. I don't know. It's just really weird. Like you watch her give birth. There's a scene that they cut where um she has
Oh, I forgot this was my review.
anyways, they cut a scene where like she like reads a pregnancy test and it's whatnot. And then yeah, she gives birth. There's a scene of her giving birth, and then she's like, "Oh, we beat it, Alex," because he was originally supposed to die with that the when he saves her or whatever. And yeah, I don't know. It's just really weird. Carter survives, and he's like all sad about his death and whatnot. And then she gives this weird monologue about like death and whatnot. It's really weird. I didn't enjoy it. I'm really glad that they didn't. As much as I don't like the actual ending of that movie, I hate that even more. Anyways, getting back on track. Final Destination 2, I also gave a 3.5. My review was this one actually has a legitimate ending. Um, then Final Destination 3, I didn't give a review. I just rated it 4 out of 5 stars. Final Destination 5, I also gave a 4 out of 5, and my review was this is how you end a franchise. Oh, shit, I skipped the fourth one. Sorry. The Final Destination I gave a 2 out of 4 stars. I might lower that honestly going forward, but this one I said thank death this wasn't the final entry, and that was why my review for Final Destination 5 was this is how you end a franchise. Um, and then for Final Destination Bloodlines, I gave it a 4 as well, and I said I love how Death's weapon of choice is always a light breeze.
It's true. He just likes to shimmy on in with his little wind effects. All right. I've read all mine too now after looking them up. So for Final Destination 2, I I'm gonna change it. It has 3.5. I'm gonna change it to a 4 because I think all these are like 4.5
Mm.
range. So Final Destination 2, 4 stars out of 5. Really shocked the protagonist thought death was pro life for a solid 20 minutes.
I love that one. That one's fucking hilarious.
I totally forgot I came up with that, and I knew I ate it up. I knew I ate it up. For Final Destination 3, 4 out of 5. How the fuck they still crash on the coaster if Mr. Frankie Cheeks gets off? I want my HBO subscription back for the month of May 2025. I didn't write a review for 4, the Final Destination, but I gave it a one
Damn,
and a
you
half
should
out of
have.
5. I'm gonna put that in, but it's 1.5 out of 5. Final Destination 5, I gave it. This still rips 14 years later. Holy fuck, what? And then for Final Destination Bloodlines, if you've ever wondered what the worst outcome of a CT scan could be, you don't have to anymore. 4.5 stars out of 5.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, right. Oh, I still think about that, brother. Uh, all right. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, Leo?
Just one. I just love how I don't think this franchise is regarded as highly as I think it should be, because honestly, out of like the majority of the other horror franchises, I think this one is the most consistent in terms of quality. I mean, obviously, yeah, the Final Destination is not good, but that's not an that's not an accurate read on what the franchise is. Like the other ones are really good. They're really entertaining and they're fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, I think I this franchise has more going for it than a lot of the other ones, because if for example, if you take a look at like the Halloween franchise or like the Alien franchise or whatever, like a lot of those movies are like really bad, and a lot of people complain about how bad they are. And so I don't know, I think it's refreshing to finally see a franchise that not only is still going and still like doing well in terms of box office, but I don't know, I think that these movies are just so much better than they have any right to be.
And that's why I wanted us to watch him for the horror movie month. But without that said, what are we watching next week, Leo?
All right, next week we are getting into another horror icon franchise. We are watching Scream 1 through 4. It is that number because I that is the number of movies that I have on DVD. So that's the ones that we're watching.
Let's fucking go.
Maybe if I have time, I can watch the other ones, because I know there were some more recent ones that did did well.
They're okay.
And I don't know. I don't know. I, I don't think I'll be ever. I don't think I'll ever be able to binge watch of franchises the way that I was able to get through Final Destination, because they were just so good.
I told
But
you, brother.
but yeah, so that's what we're covering next week. Scream. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.